Okay, so if you are new here, you know how hard it was for me to buy my home. But I learned so much on that journey from getting, all these offers basically ignored to, finding the first home that I liked and moving forward with it during that second, go around. So if you're new here, my name is Jocelyn. I am the founder of Real Estate Prep, which is a community for first-time home buyers that are looking for the tools, tactics, and resources that they need to confidently make one of the biggest purchases of their lives, which is their first home. And what I do is I like to humanize the home buying experience for people that are completely new to this whole world, because it can be very complex, but I want to make sure that I'm arming you with everything you need to actually succeed. So today I'm going to talk about 4 of the things that I did and 4 of the things that I recommend you do before you buy your home, because home ownership is not cheap. Okay. It is not cheap. Do not think you're going to be paying what you're paying in rent. Don't make that. Sometimes that's the case. Sometimes it's not, but do not walk in thinking you're going to be paying the exact same thing. So here are some things that I did to get ready, to buy my home. So the first thing that I did was I paid off all of my debt. Now, I'm not forcing anybody. I'm going to tell you to do that unless you have a small amount of debt. I had a lot of debt. So I just wanted to get rid of it. I was tired of it haunting me. Like, it just was not a good situation. But if you can pay off some of it, that's going to help you overall with your debt to income ratio, which is something that lenders really, really pay attention to determine how much you can realistically afford. Like if you have all these other debts out there, then they're going to be like, okay, you're making this much and this much is leaving out according to your debt. You are high risk, and we are not going to give you what you think we want to give you. We want to give you more, but realistically, you just don't have it because you have all these other debts associated with your credit. So that's not a good feeling. So pay off some debt, like start with the ones that have super duper high interest rates, because those are the ones that you're paying tons of money to that you aren't really recouping. And eventually, once you get really comfortable, like I recommend making extra payments when you can, and putting them directly towards the principal versus the interest, so that you can really see your number come down, and that'll give you some inspiration to keep going for sure. 2 is that I automated my savings, and I did that by actually signing up for a high yield savings account. So a high yield savings account usually it functions the same way as like a savings account at any other bank. It's still with banks, but the annual percentage yield, which is like the APY, is usually a little higher. So for like a standard savings account, in my experience, they're always like 0.002% that they're giving you in interest for your money, and for the fact that you're holding it in their account. And that's nothing. That's essentially pennies, versus a high yield savings account. Like when I signed up for mine back then, I want to say it was like 1.27, or like it was a little over 1%, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you look back at your statements, even if it's back a month, even if it's back a quarter, back a year, you'll see how much they're paying you just to hold money in their account. And again, 1% does not sound like a lot, but think about if you're putting in $500 a month. Like that's going to be helpful, because you're going to need that money to close. You're going to need that money for your down payment. So it's a small passive way to just allow your money to work for you. And I used Marcus, which was very helpful. I still have the account because I'm involved in some other investments. And unfortunately, with high yield savings, the rate will fluctuate according to the market. But if you know that you don't plan on buying, for at least a year, like I would consider like high yield CDs, which are certificates of deposits, and they usually have a fixed APY, which means that if it is 1.27, that's usually like that's going to stick for however long your terms are. So if you know you're not buying for at least a year and you decide to have a high yield that is a year long from a term perspective, and they're telling you we'll give you 1.27, then they're never going to change that unless things change in the market. This is just my experience. I'm not a financial investor, but as far as I know, with high yield CDs, which is something that I also I have, like That number hasn't changed. So this is just going off of whatever I've experienced and what I know. Create that, because that way you'll be able to house your down payment and your closing costs and any other costs you need to prepare for your move in that account, so that it's making money for you and it's passive. You literally do not have to touch it. All you have to do is continue to put money in there, and I automated it basically. So with each check, like I set aside a certain amount, knowing that I was getting ready to close, and it all came in handy when it was time to kind of finish everything off and move into the house. The third thing I recommend is to create a new income stream. This can be something home-based. I mean, it's a panty right now. Or, you know, if you like engaging with people, that could be something as simple as working at a grocery store, working at a clothing store. Like, finding something that you enjoy makes it a little easier. For me, my background is in marketing, so I actually was working as an instructor, like a part-time instructor, in the evenings and on the weekends, and I taught marketing to people that were interested in joining this whole world, and they were college students. So that was helpful, very, very helpful. It was tiring at times to do that on top of all the other things I had going on, but that money came in handy, and it was something that I already was enjoying. Like, that this is my career, and I liked helping people, you know, get into this career. So it was pretty much a no-brainer, and I was able to work remotely. So it was very helpful. But I highly recommend, even if it's something short-term, because I no longer do that. You know, but I knew that I needed that additional capital to get to where I needed to be and still be comfortable to live my life and also do the things that I wanted to do once I was even in the home. So I highly recommend thinking about some of the skill sets that you have or some of the things that you enjoy, and being really realistic. For me, like, I'm a home kind of girl. I'm a homebody kind of girl. Like, I don't really leave the house, you know, for fun the way that other people do. Like, I don't like being out. I'm not a socialite. So it made sense for me to just be able to do this at home, still be on Zoom and all these other things, but like help people from the comfort of my home, especially in a panty. Like, I just was not trying to get sick, and I'm still not trying to get sick. So it just came in handy. But think about something that's beneficial for you and your lifestyle. And again, it can even be short term, or you can decide to do it long term, like whatever works for you. I just highly recommend it, because there's always going to be need for more money. Even if you have everything already, like, just having that additional cushion is very helpful, because you just never know what can go wrong. And you want to move into your house with a little bit of a cushion anyway, after you pay all your closing costs, all your down payment, all the moving costs, all the utility costs. You still want to have a little something to decorate. You still want to have an emergency fund. Like, anything can go wrong. So that's what I recommend. Just to recap, the 3 things that I recommend are: number 1, automating your savings. I recommend putting it in a high yield savings account, or a CD, which is a certificate of deposit, if you know that you have at least a year before you're ready to buy, because you want to lock that, you know, that interest rate in, that they're paying you to hold your money. 2 is to pay off some of your debt. I paid off all of mine. I had student loan debt, and I was just tired of being haunted. But paying off some of it, even if it is just a little bit, like, will help your debt to income ratio score. And again, that's very important to lenders. They want to make sure that you're not biting off more than you can chew, and they will control your life. Even if you think you can do it, they'll be like, actually, no, you cannot. And that'll be reflected in how much they approve you for. 3rd is to create a new income stream. So for me, like I mentioned, I work in marketing, and I used to teach marketing on the side on the evenings and the weekends when I wasn't working. So that was very helpful. I was very, very tired trying to manage all these things at once, but the money came in handy, and I enjoyed what I was doing. So, you know, it was very short term. I did it for a couple of months, but it was helpful to help me to just collect additional income so that I can be comfortable as I make these big moves. So if you have any questions, please leave them down below in the comment box. And of course, like with every video, please let me know what questions you have, or if there's anything that you want me to cover on a future video. And I'll be sure to address it if it's something I have experience with, or I can direct you to other people within the industry that can help you a little bit further. So thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video.